Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. The demonstrations by Gen Zs on the streets revealed and exposed our leaders. And when they took some leave from the protests, people have been left to ponder what exactly is the next move, because they are saying today is on 4th, they are saying that on 8th they are going back to the streets on what they call Nani Nani. We had Saba Saba, but this time round it seems there will be a Nani Nani. But if there is something that Kenyans have lived to understand now, is that all these politicians are the same. Because even Raila Amolo Odinga, whom we have always praised for championing our rights, disappointed Kenyans. That is the truth. Because we've always known Raila for making decisions that are pro people. And the people have never disappointed him. They have always voted for him, but the elections have always been rigged. But after these demonstrations, people have been asking one question: was he really for change? Because in 2007, he really gave Kibaki a run for his money and he defeated Kibaki. That election was defeated. Raila later joined hands with Kibaki. He later faced Uhuru Kenyatta and he accused Uhuru Kenyatta of corruption. After Uhuru rigged the election, or so that is what most of his supporters believe, Raila went and shook hands with the very man he had accused of bad leadership. In 2022, Raila faced William Ruto on the ballot. And I remember he even refused to go and face William Ruto in a presidential debate, saying that William Ruto was so much corrupt that his conscience would not allow him even to engage him. Less than 2 years down the line, he has joined William Ruto after going to the streets and people were killed. And there has never been justice for those youths who were killed. He has now joined the government in his own wisdom or whatever it is. But people are asking, was he really for change? I remember in 2007, William Ruto accused him that he did not want to take power. Miguna did the same in 2007, saying in 2017 that he did not want to take his victory. And we've been criticizing William Ruto and criticizing Miguna. But what happened in 2022 is, in these last demonstrations, is something that can persuade us that really maybe Raila have never wanted to become the president. Those are talks out in the streets. But I want to ask you, do you think Raila still stands for change? Because that is what they are saying. And there's not only Raila. I've only picked Raila because he's the one who has always been, fighting what we have always thought is the status quo. But Raila has joined the status quo. And therefore, the biggest headache that we have as Kenyans is how to kick out all these politicians. Because from where I sit, Raila, William Ruto, Mudavadi, Wetangula, Gashagwa, name them, Kalonzo Musyoka, Gideon Moi, all these people belong to the same class. They have been recycled over and over again. Someone has been a minister for something, has been a vice president, has been a prime minister, has been a DO, and all this. And therefore, all these people belong to the same class. And after the Gen Zs went to the street to air their displeasure, and the government realized that these people, these youths could topple Ruto's government, they brought in some narrative that it was the deputy president and his people who are plotting a coup against William Ruto. Something which, if you ask me, I don't care. Because Gen Zs never went there to know who was fighting who. They went there because of the Finance Bill 2024 and bad governance and bad leadership. Goons infiltrated their demonstrations. And when Raila joined William Ruto, there seems to be some calmness, and they seems to have been neutralized. I don't know why, but for some reasons they have been neutralized. And so in my earlier video, I had analyzed that there were only two ways of killing the rat that we have. It was either to march to Statehouse, that will be a bloody affair, but history has shown that after very many people have died, victory shall overcome. I'm against blood. But the people were so determined that they would even go and occupy Statehouse, something that is not very easy. They occupied Parliament and they have occupied Supreme Court. So they have occupied two arms of government. The only one that was remaining was that guarded Statehouse. That was number one. The other way is to wait for 2027 and vote overwhelmingly like people did in 2022, because if you ask experts, the only election that we've ever had that is true, honest, verifiable is the election in 2020, in 2002, when people were tired of the Nyayo regime. And so Marco Ure, who is the face that now is being linked to Gen Zs because he's been vocal, articulate, and outspoken about the events that have taken place, about Gen Z's protest. He's now revealing to us that he is going to step up, that is going to run for presidency, because he's saying that over the years we've only had two horses, leave alone the others that are being put to mix and confuse people. We've ever had Raila versus Kibaki, Raila versus Uhuru, Raila versus Ruto. So he's saying that we have always been left to choose between two devils. We have a lesser devil. And this time around, he's saying that he's going to plunge himself in the political scene so that he can stand up and be counted. Kindly listen to Marco Ure.
Yesterday you were somewhere on air in the morning, and something came up, and you mentioned that you will be vying in 2027.
Right.
Is that true?
Yes.
What's it?
I will just be vying in an elective position, whether Nairobi or Kenya, that we shall determine then, because I feel at this point we're not necessarily in a political exercise in terms of campaigns. That's what the political class is doing. But what we're doing, we're clamoring for change. But this is a thing which I did not just say suddenly. I've said this since 2022. Because that's when I came of age, but I said in the next election I'm just sick and tired of us electing clowns, and therefore I will it is time for good people who call themselves good men to step into this thing so that we have more options, because we've always consistently been forced into a false dilemma. We don't even have 3 or 6 candidates. It has always been a race of 2, so everyone is always choosing the lesser evil. And now to add to that pool, it's a question I've never shied from. I will vie in 2027.
Yeah, the other question is a bit tricky.
Right.
What political party? And in this, I'm going to link it to the current. There's a clamor to register a political party by the name of Gen Z.
We don't need to. We don't need to register a political party called Gen Z. I could even move as the vegans of Nairobi or mango eaters associations. If my parties are for the people will vote me in. We voted in a party called Orange Democratic Movement. Quite literally. Banana. That's where it came from. It's not like you from a deep ideological point. It was stick versus no. United Democratic Alliance. Wheelbarrows. We voted in wheelbarrows. So I believe even if I vote as maggots or the Sewage Association of Kenya, as long as the policies are for the people, I will vote. So it does not have to be in a mainstream party or whatever it is, but when the time comes, we will organize around the party that favors it.
As we try and dissect Marco Ure's decision to join the murky waters of politics, allow me to request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you. Give this video likes because it goes a long way in promoting the video, and I want to thank you so very much for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, for a very long time, youths have been told, you are the future leaders, future that never come. Because we keep on recycling our leaders. Even in the cabinet, we don't see many youth. In the Ruto reconstituted cabinet, we only saw one youth. Yet, even when the ODM was given a chance to nominate some people to get to government, we recycled 2 governors. We removed someone who is, in fact, 2 members of parliament, one nominated, another one elected. There wasn't any youth there. And it tells you that we don't have respect for youths in this country. I didn't see even women there. All of the four were men. And so this time round, I think it is good for one of the youths to stand up and be counted. For a very long time, youths have been used to vote in leaders who don't take care of them, who don't care about them. So, and when they go to the street to ask, you promised us this and you're not implementing it, they are killed on the streets. And so, one of the best news that I've received this week is the fact that Makore has decided that he's going to vie. Do you think William Ruto has any reason to worry about the declaration by Makore that he will vie? And I think he's got every reason to worry. You know, an election is not like the demonstrations where they would infiltrate with some goons, where they would begin some propaganda that is being sponsored by Gashagwa. Because in that election, it is clear that Raila is not going to contest. Raila is going to support William Ruto. Mudavadi is going to support William Samoei Ruto. And so it is going to be about the status quo against change. We are not going to look at Kalonzo because I hear that Kalonzo, Uhuru Kenyatta, Jeremiah Kioni, and Gashagwa are also forming and having another formation. But these people are the same. They will form alliances and coalitions with different names, but they are the same. I can assure you that even if you elect Kalonzo today, in the next cabinet, they will be working together with Raila and all these other people. They will be working with Ruto. And I'm not saying that spreading an olive branch, extending an olive branch to other leaders is bad. But I'm against recycling of the same people. And so one of the reasons why William Ruto must be worried about Gen Z is because you will realize that he represents the youths. That's why he wants to go and challenge William Samoei Ruto. He represents both the Gen Zs and millennials. And if Gen Zs would wake up together with millennials and women, then I can assure that they will defeat William Ruto very early in the morning. One of the reasons why William Ruto should be worried is their numbers. You've realized that from statistics, youths and Gen Zs and millennials form more than half of the electorates of those who are ready to vote. And so with their numbers, because politics is about numbers, and we know that in our Kenyan scenario, it's not about even it's not about your numbers, but the elections have always been rigged. This time around, it might not be even very easy to rig because we have an angry generation. So their numbers is something that will keep William Ruto, give William Ruto sleepless nights. They are not only many, but are also very determined. You saw them on the streets, so determined, so resilient. They were being killed on the street, but they would still come out. They would still go to the street. They would still go to and occupy spaces. And so William Ruto must be a worried man, because if he gets to the ballot box, and you know these days, even if you try to block him from vying, there's independent. He can vie as an independent candidate. The other time someone rushed to register Gen Z as a party. But one thing that we should understand is that Gen Z is a movement. Even if you register that party, if they don't want you, they don't want you, they will still reject you. Number two, these people want to go to elect one of their own to make a point, because once bitten, twice shy. They have been used over the years. And then after leaders get to their offices, they are forgotten. They are a forgotten lot. So they are placed there to be used. These are the people who are being given pangas to go and fight their fellow Kenyans. But Gen Zs are saying that we are tribeless, and so you are not going to divide us along your tribal machinations. They are also partyless, so that you don't tell them you belong to ODM and PNU and UDA and Wiper and all this. They are saying that they're so determined that their common enemy is a government of status quo. They're also going there to retaliate because of this culture of being misused every election year. and they have decided that they're not going to take bribe, because the politicians have known that these people are divided and they are being given some little money. They vote the politicians in, then they wait for another 5 years. But this time they're saying, no, enough is enough. These people are also experts in their own areas, so much that it's going to be very difficult to rig an election. If Makure gets to the ballot box and they decide that they're going to stand with him, they can even decide, because we realized that their common mode of communication is online, social media. So they can say, we open a WhatsApp group. Anytime when you vote, you take Makore and you will send your screenshot to that WhatsApp group, so that they begin their tallying, and we will know that maybe if we have maybe 30 million or 10 or let's say 25 million registered voters, and then out of these 25 million registered voters, the IBC maybe tells us that we have a 90% turnout. This 90%, let's say now 20 million decide to go and vote, leave alone 5 million, maybe they don't go there. And we will start counting. You vote there, you send a screenshot to the very place, including youth in the diaspora, women, millennials, all the maybe their parents, like the parents supported them in the demonstrations, the parents will also support them, because we will have one common enemy, the political class. All of them, this time around we don't care. And by saying we don't care, I'm not saying that people like Raila have never done anything good to the country. Raila has done enough. But now we have realized that he does not resonate well with the people, and people want to kick them out by supporting a corrupt regime. He himself told us. So these people will be sending their screenshots to one WhatsApp group, and then we'll start counting. We will determine our result, and we know that out of the 20 million people who voted, we have 15 million who have voted for Makure, and therefore it is going to be very difficult to rig the elections. And with the momentum that they set on the streets, no one would even dare, because we know that William Ruto could try, but you know the kind of emotion that this can elicit when people get to the ballot box. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is good for one of their own, let me call one of our own, who are tired of the political class, to go to the ballot, so that we are not used. We need someone who is a servant. If elections are rigged, we need someone who will go to the fullest, not someone who is a leader, who after people have been killed, he sits down and negotiates for himself. We don't want such people. We want someone who is a servant. When we tell him go, he goes. When we tell him retreat, retreats. Not someone who is controlling us. We want someone whom we control. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the right way to go. And we should not allow the political class, the government, to start sponsoring many youth, because that is what will happen. Many youth will be sponsored to ensure that we divide votes. But even if they sponsor 100 of them, once we have decided that we are following one man, that is what we will do. And so what must happen? People must start, taking IDs. If at all you want change does not just come by wishing. Wishful thinking does not. One good accomplishment is more than 1,000 wishes. So we need to take ID cards, and we need to call on the government, because they can even decide to now delay, procrastinate releasing IDs, because they will feel threatened. But we need to compel them, because it is our right to get these IDs. That is why Makore was complaining that they have hiked the prices of getting IDs, because they know. So people must start taking IDs, and people wake up on the voting. People need to wipe each other, rally each other. And with this, people must overcome, because people have always overcome. There's not going to be propaganda of someone who is sponsoring us. We need to form a government of our own, of the people, by the people, for the people. And the only way is to have one of our own on the ballot, so that we vote him in. And I don't know what to think, but this is the best news that I've ever received.